Welcome to the American Academy of Grief Counseling's video on Latino multicultural counseling. And this is a continuation of our multicultural competency videos, which look at various cultures and how counseling and grief affect these particular cultures themselves. Now let's do a short portrait of what Latina Americans represent. They are the fastest growing minority group within the United States. Most are from Mexico, others arrive from the Caribbean islands, such as Puerto Rico, Cuba, and many others also make the long trip from Central America and also South America. Many adhere to Roman Catholicism or other non-denominational Christian groups. Family itself is also a key component of Latina culture. Family events, birthdays, holidays, and deaths are more emphasized and prioritized as a time of coming together, whether in happiness or sorrow, in sharing life and death itself. Hence, the family dynamic is critical to the emotional and mental health of many Latina Americans themselves. In addition, elders are given maximum respect, while children are expected within the family dynamic to be obedient and respectful. Men are expected to display strong machismo type characteristics that provide for the family and lead the family, while women are expected to be more submissive, nurturing, and self-sacrificing for the needs of the family. With that portrait understood, there is also many external and internal challenges to Latina Americans within the United States. Many face racism, segregation, discrimination, poverty, significant educational disadvantages, and many also face immigration trauma. Many deal with fitting in and acculturation itself of where they fit within a particular community. So all of these can become stressors and major factors for individuals and how they adjust and adapt. Unfortunately, there is a massive nativist anti-immigrant movement within the United States that correlates these individuals as criminals and as invaders, and this does not help any of their mental health itself. Those who are alone in the United States as well, without the family dynamic, can suffer more without the support systems. This fear leads to the immigrant in possibly never seeing or speaking with their family again, and it pushes them in many cases to try to find other surrogate families or find local Latina American communities to try to help find some type of commonality. Now, if one is working with Latina Americans, there are some important concepts to understand. And first, are they legal or illegal? Obviously, an illegal immigrant is going to have a lot more stress, constantly looking for immigration behind every corner. They have fear of being sent back. Now, it's not right that they're here illegal, but many of them are good, hard-working people seeking asylum or fleeing a very bad situation. So if they're illegal, they're going to have many more stressors to deal with, especially the fear of returning to a very volatile situation in the home nation. The other thing to consider is their level of acculturation. Are they integrated? Integrated means simply they are adjusting to the dominant culture. They are maintaining some elements of their culture, but also incorporating other elements of the dominant Western culture, which is in the United States. Are they assimilated? Assimilation is a point where they share some views, but they are beginning to move away more so from their original ideas of who they are as a Latina American, while others might become separated completely. While assimilating into the dominant culture, others become very obstinate and stubborn in giving up anything from the original homeland and of their culture, and they become very hostile to the thought of being part of the dominant culture itself. And that might be very well because of the discrimination faced in public. So they just more so retreat and become isolated. And then there are some that might become marginalized and no longer have any care whatsoever about the post culture, and they become completely part of the dominant culture itself. Many also have mistrust regarding the counseling system. Many turn to their own communities and families. So if you are a Western counselor working with a Latino, Latina, it's important to be able to gain that trust, to be able to work with the individual through whatever things that are going through, depending on their level of acculturization and also with their support system. And again, how is their support system if you're counseling? Do they have a strong family structure, or have they been uprooted and separated from their family? Are they independent of the family or interdependent? So if a family structure does exist, that's very good, but it can also be a stress on younger generations that have been born within the United States, because there is such a strong independence upon family within Latino, Latina family structures. Then when an individual begins to follow their own dreams, this can cause internal stressors as well. In addition to internal stressors, we can look at various gender roles. If one woman of Hispanic or Latino, Latina descent decides to become more independent of a husband, that can cause friction in itself. Also, looking at faith and grief. How does their faith play a role as Christians, and how can they understand suffering and loss? Again, many turn to their faith as a way of understanding loss, and many also turn to various family structures to resolve issues of loss and grief before coming to a professional licensed counselor, or even just a pastoral grief counselor for that matter. So there's a lot to consider when dealing with someone of that descent, of Latino, Latina descent, because they have multiple issues going on, not just internal with their culture, but also with the external stressors that exist on the outside, being part of a culture that sometimes looks down upon them, especially with such a strong nativist movement within the United States currently. We are AIHCP. We offer a grief counseling certification. There's the link. Our number is 330-652-7776, and our email is info@aihcp.org. We also offer a grief diversity certification for those who are already certified in our grief counseling program. So be sure to check that out. I'd like to thank you for listening and have a good day.